How's it going, guys? I'm Robert from Aputure Visuals, and I wanted to give you some of my thoughts on NAB 2018. For those of you that don't know, NAB is kind of like Disneyland for the video industry. It happens every year in Vegas, and all the camera manufacturers show off their latest tech and production solutions. I've been going for the past 5 years, and it's a great chance to meet up with brands face to face, and gives you a chance to play around with equipment that's reserved for elite level production. Every year, I write a list of manufacturers I want to see, and here are some of the things that I found pretty interesting this year. Blackmagic announced their new Pocket Cinema camera, which boasts 4K RAW at 60p. A lot of people are giving it crap for being a Micro Four Thirds sensor, but people literally complain about anything nowadays. It's claiming 13 stops of dynamic range and has a dual native ISO of 400 to 3200. It can do 10-bit ProRes or 12-bit RAW internally to UHS-2 SD cards, CFast media, or even to mobile SSDs. It uses a Canon LP-E6 battery, which isn't the greatest, but you can theoretically use a dummy battery wired to a more reliable power source. I'm not sure how much I would use this camera bare bones, but I'll definitely be interested in seeing how it operates rigged up. Blackmagic has a mixed track record when it comes to releases, so we'll see. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing a video. I'll probably definitely rent one if they decide to release on time. Of the 5 new monitors SmallHD announced, these are probably what I'm most interested in. They took their small focus monitor and embedded a Teradek bolt within the chassis itself. They have a TX and RX version, and you can buy them both together for $2,500. This would be super handy when I'm using my Bolt 500, so a director could have their own handheld monitor. This is another monitor that's definitely on my list. It's a big, beautiful monitor that's a whopping 2200 nits. It is astounding how bright this monitor is in real life, and would be super useful to have, especially living in the desert. Atomos unveiled their new ProRes RAW codec, which works with their new Ninja 5 recorder. The FS7 actually outputs RAW with the extension unit, so I'd be very interested in doing some tests with the new codec and possibly making a video. I believe this gimbal released a few weeks ago and caught my eye because of the rotated arm and 8-pound payload. It looks fairly modular, but I'm not sure how I feel about how the handles are being so close. They actually had a floor model flying a Canon C200, which actually was really impressive, but the Android app I think isn't very developed, so it's probably not for me. These things have been backordered since the beginning of time, and I finally found out why. The package is cool as f***. Whoa. For $1,200, you get 2 motors, 2 hand grips, and a follow focus unit. Wow. The hand grips are super cool because you have control over the motors with the touch of your finger, and this would be really sweet to try out with my FS7 mounted on my shoulder rig. They even had a red configuration with the hand grips on the sides in sort of a gunner configuration, and it was mighty smooth. It's got a plate on top to accept 2 kind of side airy rosettes, and that's how the handles connect. And so it's almost like a chain gun configuration. And this one is controlling the iris, and then the right one is controlling the focus, just from the finger. So if you check it out, we have 3 motors on here. We have iris, and then on the other side, we have a focus and a zoom. So this wheel controls the focus. And then there's a little knob right here. There's a little joystick, and that controls the zoom. Damn, that's tight. Of all the gimbals coming out right now, this one probably excites me the most. It's super responsive and has an impressive payload. They haven't released exact specs yet, but they did have a floor model handling a 1DX Mark II without a sweat. I'm a huge fan of the tabletop stand, so it can be easily set down, but also can be used as additional support when operating the gimbal, almost like an actual Ronin with a katana. The joystick feels great, and it has an optional screen attachment that can control gimbal settings like the Ronin 2. It's said to ship in May, so we'll see how DJI does with that. I've been looking for some sort of gimbal to pair with my A6500, so we'll see. I finally got my hands on what's probably my next camera, the Arri Amira. The thing is built like a tank, and I'm a huge fan of how the controls are laid out, similar to the FS7, right on the operator side. And it's actually very similar to the FS7 in that it's more or less ready to shoot out of the box. Arri also announced that the Amira would be getting Arri RAW in the future in 16:9, which would be definitely cool to test once I get one. Inovativ unveiled their new Apollo cart, which is almost like a literal tank. It's meant for heavier payloads and includes a folding top lip from the Echo and removable wheels from the Scout. I reckon it's meant to stay built most of the time and just rolled up into a production van. I had a great time talking with one of the engineers from Schneider on their Platinum IR-NDs versus the RHOdium Full Spectrum NDs. After doing some initial tests myself with IR-NDs, I noticed that there was a noticeable color shift towards green on my FS7. The engineer explained to me that this was due to the IR-ND suppressing more IR light than visible light, which led to the green cast. It's super easy to remove in post, but in my opinion can open a can of worms if you're just handing off footage to an editor. The full spectrum NDs hit the whole spectrum of light equally, so there's no noticeable color shift. He pulled up a few amplified vector scope images and the NDs were remarkable. These are probably the most cost-efficient and high-quality NDs on the market and will probably be my next set. I was also able to preview some of their creative filters, including their new True Streak Rainbow filter. The filter produces a rainbow effect similar to that of uncoated lenses, and I may be shooting an electronic music festival next month, and these would be the perfect application. Aputure has made some great improvements on their popular 120D and Light Dome. The 120D features an all-new, all-in-one ballast that eliminates the power brick and is also 20% brighter. The new ballast also features DMX in and out and a cool locking power cable. The Light Dome modifier is even more improved with the speed ring rods being permanently attached for super quick setup and teardown. They also feature a grid, finally, and different flavors of diffusion, as well as a gel holder. I've been holding off on this light for a while, but Aputure has finally answered my prayers with all of these amazing improvements. Behind a glass case, Aputure was showing off their answer to Arri Sky panels, a prototype light that features RGB with a small wand that's able to capture light characteristics and emulate it from the panel. It can also supposedly capture effects like fire, TV flickering, or sunsets, and there's not a lot of info currently since it's still under development, but it seems incredible. I probably wouldn't use this as a key light, but it would be really cool to use as a gag light if I needed to emulate some sort of specific effect. What would you like to see improved in the film and TV industry?
Less crappy transitions.
Okay.
Transitions are awful nowadays.
I've been eyeing this piece of gear for a super long time. Depending on my rig configuration, shooting days are becoming incredibly strenuous. The Vario 5 is actually really cool because the payload is adjustable from 11 to 38 pounds, so it'll be able to handle pretty much whatever I throw at it. EasyRig also introduced a new quick release system that uses a ball joint to lock onto the line, and it's pretty much their answer to people using like the Kong Frog carabiner clips, and it's actually really solid. I was super itching to get one and had a few upcoming shoots that would have been really nice to have it for, so the folks over at 16:9 were gracious enough to let me have a floor model for 20% off. There you go, yeah. I love it.
I'm glad that you have the EasyRig now, and let's connect for the future, and good luck tomorrow with your shooting. So, bye-bye.
All in all, I had a great time at NAB 2018. I felt like this was the first year I was able to have really in-depth conversations with a lot of the camera manufacturers and offer opinions on their products. One thing you really have to focus on is being proactive in conversations. Rather than letting reps spit out spec sheets to you, you have to ask them the important questions that really no one else is asking, or questions they normally wouldn't get. I also noticed that I was the subject of ageism, and it was really weird. A lot of reps would pay me no mind until I started to talk the talk and realized that I was production literate. And I'm looking at you, Canon. NAB is an incredible place to network with other industry professionals and speak with manufacturers that you're considering purchasing from. I met up with a bunch of friends at NAB, and it's even more awesome seeing creators you follow online. As always, if you have any questions on anything I talked about, let me know in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer them as best as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.